Aloha everyone! Welcome back to the negotiation table. My name is Wincy Hong, your host and communications specialist here at HGEA. With us today, we have James Sunday, aloha, State Board of Directors Vice President and Principal of Radford High, and Derek Minakami, aloha,
Aloha.
Oahu at-large Director and Principal of Kaneohe Elementary, both Unit 6 members. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us. Before we dive into this month's conversation, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button so you never miss an episode. All right, let's dive in. The 2026 legislative session started on a highly controversial note when the Senate Education Committee took up a bill that would have changed the way principals are selected and evaluated, along with eliminating complex area superintendents. Your engagement and advocacy thankfully killed the bad parts of that bill. But there are so many other good, bad, and ugly bills in the legislature that could impact schools. So let's get into it. My first question is for you, Derek. Maybe we can start with you and a brief recap on that DOE restructuring bill I just referred to, SB 3334. The principals and other educational officers really mobilized against this. That initial hearing on February 13th drew out several hundred from Unit 6. So, can you talk about why members in your unit were so fired up to speak on that bill and defeat it?
So there were a few things that were of great concern that were really distressing us. The first thing that you mentioned was about the school committee councils having that power now through that bill to hire, select principal, and then to evaluate them. And being that there are employees who sit on school committee councils, teachers, educational assistants, other classified staff, it's inappropriate for them to be put into that position of evaluating their employer, their supervisor, because it could lead to a quid pro quo situation. It might it opens up the door to a lot of retaliatory suspicions. So, for example, if a principal were to reprimand their teacher for coming in late consistently, that teacher's on the school committee council, they might in turn give the principal a bad evaluation. And so that was something of great concern to us. And then the second thing of great concern was that by eliminating the complex area superintendents, it discounted all of the responsibilities they had. And the bill provided no context, no measures on how those responsibilities would be taken care of. And so in many ways, it lacked the foresight. It just blindly eliminated a position. It was kind of like doging, the DOE. And so those are the things that we really were concerned about and against, and that's why we spoke up.
James, on the same topic, one particular legislator said publicly that you guys oppose the bill to protect the, quote, status quo and your jobs. There was even a lawmaker at that initial hearing who told a DOE leader that she and public schools are failures. Can you help us understand how much people in HGA are helping our kids to thrive and the ways your successes aren't being talked about by naysaying legislators?
Yeah, so I think, I'll address the status quo first. With any organization, you don't come stagnant, you build, right? You build your structures. I don't know what the term means to them, but we're definitely not stagnant. We're definitely not doing business as usual every day. We're growing as a department. Obviously everybody wants to protect their jobs, but there's value to our jobs at the end of the day. Like I said, we build, we add people to the structure. There's lots of initiatives going on, statewide, nationwide. We handle a big school system, and obviously from the top down, you assign people to do things and create positions to be more effective on a daily basis and to make sure that you provide support to your employees. Talking about failures, I don't think lawmakers sometimes step on campuses and see the great things. They look at scores on papers maybe, or hear from a disgruntled employee or parent sometimes, and put the stamp on the school as a failure, when from early in the morning when kids are dropped off, we talk about our employees, the cafeteria feeding them, security making them feel safe, the front office helping them with their daily routines, teachers, administrators. It's such a vast organization with different roles that we're there to support kids, give them a relationship with an adult, have someone to talk to. There's kids that look forward to coming to school. There's parents that look forward to dropping off their kids because they come home with a positive experience. And for lawmakers to say, for failures, that needs to be defined, because to me, that is more of a platform for them to use as they're doing something for the DOE. It's just more of, like I said, that whole situation, I don't think was very popular with a lot of people in the DOE, whether you are from HSTA or HGEA. We all work together collectively. And like I said, our employees are on the ground every day making sure that these kids are getting taken care of and there's a positive experience.
Absolutely. You guys do a lot.
Yes.
Derek, let's pivot to some bills that are still hanging around at the Capitol. Several bills continue to move that would address harassment and assault on school employees. Now, of course, they are in response to the assault on a Unit 6 member from Moanalua High School. Can you talk about how much of a problem harassment and safety is for education employees? And what are you hoping comes out of this session in this regard?
Sure. It is so regrettable and so unfortunate that Associate AD Iwamoto had to experience that and to suffer through that to propel this bill forward. But really, the genesis of these bills really started off many years before, even before COVID. Principals, teachers, our school staff have experienced harassment, threats, even assault in the line of doing their duties. And then to add insult to injury, when they seek legal protection, they're left holding the bill. And so really what we're hoping is that there will be some measure for preventing people from engaging in that activity, but also if it does occur, then there are protections in place for employees as well as legal recourse. So those are really what we're hoping to occur through these bills and maybe even into the future as well.
Yes, I see. James, switching gears, another bill would give the school facilities authority even more power over what happens to campus properties. And there is a fear commercial interests like building luxury housing on prime real estate occupied by schools would drive the decisions. Not what's best for kids and communities. I bet a lot of employees in the DOE have no clue about this measure. So can you give us a rundown on this and why people need to be ready to push back?
Yeah, so, schools are schools to educate kids, provide a safe community, safe environment. With school facilities in itself, the last thing we want is privatization. I know that there's schools that are exploring building teacher housing on campus. To me, that's probably maybe a good thing. Those are employees that will be on the campus, but having private businesses and other things taking property up where it could be better used for school access and other things, that's something that we definitely have to be aware of. I think, facilities in general, if you do go on DOE campuses, we are aging at a rapid rate now. Most of our schools are over 50, 60, 70 years old. I think, principals have to have more authority and more funding to improve campuses. But again, it starts from the top. You have to put your money where your mouth is. If you want adequate schools, you want schools that people desire to go to, we have to change the infrastructure already. We have to build new schools. We have to renovate schools, and we have to make a major push for it, because in the next 20 years, those schools that are around still, they're going to be almost 100 years old. And we have kids in different generations of family going through the same schools, using the same desk. Principals have to be empowered to improve their facilities and obviously work with their legislatures to secure funding But I think, like talking about privatization and other things, I think school property needs to remain school property.
Derek, there is a whole constellation of bills out there that seem to encroach upon decisions that should be made by educators on the school level. Examples include a ban on cell phones in schools, kindergarten assessments, community literacy labs, and even dictating curriculum, such as requiring the publication of student book projects. Obviously, there is nothing wrong with these ideas and the abstract, but shouldn't educators who have expertise in running schools and classroom teaching be the ones deciding what is best for the kids?
In education, we see a lot of armchair quarterbacking. People feel that just because they experience school as a student, that they somehow know better than teachers and administrators, and they minimize our education, our study of pedagogical research, our analysis of learning theories, our understanding of child development, and not to discount the many years of experience that we all have, as educators. Just because you use a bathroom doesn't make you a plumber. And I think when we think about these bills, even if a legislator has a good idea, they're sometimes unaware of the context which the idea must be implemented. As school leaders, we're constantly balancing between mandated instructional minutes, contractual obligations, and so, all with the purpose of tending to the learning needs of our students. When we add something on, we're going to have to subtract something. So even if it's a good idea that you want to add in, well, there's going to be a good idea that we have to subtract out. And so really, yes, please allow those of us with training, with experience, to really look at the situation for what's best for our students and make those decisions.
James, circling back to the idea of lawmakers micromanaging schools, HGA sent a demand letter to the DOE recently asking that the department step up to protect principals from legislators who harass principals, appear unannounced at school and community meetings, and incite members of the public to advance their personal agendas. They've even pushed to remove school administrators without cause. Why is this behavior more prevalent recently, and what needs to be done?
Well, I think, on the most part, in my experiences working with our legislatures, they've done an outstanding job with communication and providing avenues of support. I think, when we have these situations, these unique situations, these legislators or politicians need to be reminded they're public servants. They are voted into office. They're here to serve the schools, serve the community. They're not our boss at the end of the day. But they need to really reflect on what they're asking and not there to micromanage the campus for their own political platform. I think, them showing up is most of the time is appreciated, but when showing up with the mentality like, I got you, or you're not doing this, or you're not listening to me, or I'm going to limit your funding, or I'm going to have you removed, to me, that's more of a relationship thing, a personal attack. And I think, like I said, in those unique situations, they have to be reminded, and principals, administrators need to speak up that they are public servants. You are voted into office, and you are there to support us. We're your constituents. You're meant to be representing us and not micromanaging us.
Absolutely, it's just not productive.
Right.
All right, guys, we really appreciate you both taking a moment out of your very busy schedules to break down everything happening on the political front. Can you share some final thoughts about staying involved as these bills move along? Maybe we can start with James and then to Derek.
Okay. Well, I think for any family, the number one quality of life issue is education. If you have a young family and you're raising kids, you always want to vet the schools they're going to live in the communities where schools are good. All schools are good, but like I said, that's the number one quality issue of life. And I think people use sometimes education as a platform, like in politics, to move ahead a little, that they're engaged, because that is what families keeps their eyes on, is where are my kids going to school. And if we have our legislatures involved, we have these bills going through, it gives them traction. I think, at the polls sometimes. So when we do have these bills, I think it's very prevalent that we show up, we show our support, or we show our disapproval of things going through, and especially when it affects just campuses and funding and people's jobs. But I think overall we have a great system, and we've come along some bumps in the roads here, with bills going through and tracking them. But overall, I think everybody has good intentions on improving quality of life here with education.
Derek?
Yeah, and I know for myself that, adding on to what James is saying, education is so important, and it really is all consuming as a school leader. It's all that we can do and focus on. And so really rely on HGEA and other trusted sources, to help keep us abreast as to what's going on and where the threats are arising and how we can best act to make sure that we respond. And so we're very thankful for the work that HGEA does in keeping us informed about what's going on, in terms of at the legislature.
Absolutely. Mahalo for that. We're very grateful for both of you. And, thank you for all that you are doing for Hawaii's kids. Join the conversation, everyone. In the comments, let us know if you are on the school level and if there are any bills you are watching closely. Are you concerned about employee safety? Do you have experience with lawmakers harassing you on campus? And for more content like this, don't forget to like and subscribe. Until next time.